Hello and welcome to the August 5th edition of Speedway Digest, Thursday Night Thunder, the most hardcore motorsports program on the internet. This is episode 216 of the series. This week we'll be previewing upcoming motorsports action, reviewing past races, a little bit, and chatting with our guests about racing in general. Racing can be a dirty business, and at the end of the day you need good soap to help clean it up. That's where Joe's Soap comes in. Joe's Soap is a new, vegan-friendly automotive hand soap that is used by top teams, such as Tommy Joe Martins and DGM Racing in the Xfinity Series, Brad Smith in the ARCA Series, and Tommy Dreesy and Mike Cope Racing in the Trans Am Series. Today, we are pleased to welcome the founder of Joe's Soap to the program. He's scheduled to be on the air momentarily. Let's go ahead and see if he's on now. Okay. Hello, Joe. Can you hear me?
Are you there?
First off, can you tell us how you got started making soap?
Yes. Okay. Thanks for inviting me on, by the way. I appreciate it. This is awesome. But yeah, I got a nice company and manufacturer it for me, and I just thought it was a great idea to do it. These are great people that make my soap. The Sappy Soap Company LLC out of Texas, and I had the idea because I've always kind of been involved in NASCAR and in the sport over the years, and I thought, how can I get involved again? What kind of product would the race teams want to use? What could be used in the shop? I'm like, I don't know, and I thought about it for a while. Then I'm like, you know what? They probably need because not only because of the coronavirus and stuff, but guys always work hard. I know a lot of guys in the Xfinity series that work on their own cars. I'm like, you know what? I think maybe they need some soap, and eventually I got the idea, and then got the right people to make it for me.
Who's your favorite driver?
Oh, that's a good question. And I've been watching NASCAR my whole life. Always been involved in NASCAR, and always liked it, and all my life. And I remember back in the day when I was a kid, Dave Marcus was racing. I was a big Dave Marcus fan, and I got to talk to him. I got to be part of his fan club way back in the day. I still have all of his stuff, so I would say Dave Marcus.
And in the modern era with the COVID-19 and all that, why should people be interested in buying Joe's soap?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I think it's a really, really great product. Not only, I mean, it's a great soap, but it's people. I think it has all natural ingredients. Okay, and I think that people like work on cars. I got so many nice compliments from people that are in the car industry, not only just racers, but other people like other mechanics and stuff, that this soap works better than any other really automotive soap in the sense of the other automotive soaps are not as I would say work as hard as ours, and not only that, but I think that it removes more stains and stuff with less work than other automotive soaps.
I know you're really involved in the Tommy Dreesy with the Trans Am series. That's where I got the information from you originally. What other racing teams are you going to be announcing in the near future?
Oh, okay, that's great. Thank you for asking. I actually just the other day just sent a box of soap to Front Row Motorsports, and I've known Bob Jenkins and those guys in Front Row Motorsports for almost since day one, since they started, and they've always been super cool. And I just got a hold of Bob. I know he's really busy doing his thing, so I just talked to him about last week. I said, hey, I told him about the soap idea and stuff, and he's like, cool. So anyways, I just sent that out to them. They haven't got it yet. And I actually, ironically enough, as soon as I get done talking to you today, I am going to call up Carl Long, and I'm going to see if I can get the soap in his shop. So as soon as I get done talking to you today, that's who I'm talking to.
And if people are interested in learning more about Joe's soap, where would they go?
Sure. Okay. I got the webpage running. I'm gonna sell it for sale really soon. I know that the company that I manufacture it for me, that I do business with, we're talking about it, and they're gonna make more of it. Okay. But right now, if you go to my website, doorstopnation.com, okay, you see on there, and then you'll see Joe's Soap on there, and you click on there, and you'll see all the information, all the frequently asked questions about Joe's Soap, and you see who's all using it. Heck, former NASCAR driver, he's retired now, he's Robert Richardson. I sent it to him. He actually really likes it. He's worked so hard on his farm and all of his equipment in his farm that he uses it, and he actually sent me a photo, and it's up on that webpage on doorstopnation.com under Joe Soap.
I would like to thank you very much for coming on the program, and thank you again for sending me the bar of soap. And
yeah,
I
you
look
got to tell
forward
me
to
how
that.
it is. Yeah, I sent it to you a few weeks ago, and you hopefully you like it. I mean, who knows? Maybe I can send you more, and we can talk about that sometime in the future.
Awesome. I'd like to have you back on maybe at the end of the season. We'll see how the
You
soap's
got it.
going, how many other teams you got into.
You got it. All right, man. Good to talk to you.
Thanks again. Have a great night.
You too.
Once again, that was Joe from Joe's Soap. We're very pleased to have him on the show tonight. And he, as I stated, he was able to send me a bar of soap, and I'm looking forward to trying it out very shortly. I'm a little bit slow with work right now, but as soon as we pick up a little bit, I'll go ahead and give it a shot and see how it works. Are you a race car driver, crew chief, pit member, track owner? Maybe you're just a huge fan of the sport. Contact us to get your spot on the show. After all, use every 15 minutes of fame, and we'd love to hear from you. High-flying motorcycle Daredevil fun comes with a risk, and no one understands that risk better than the former EMT and firefighter Cole Freeman. My medic proudly announced support of Freeman during one of the most iconic stunts to take place in downtown Sturgis during the city's 81st motorcycle rally. Freeman will eject adrenaline, fueled thrills, and champion support for the nonprofit group Responder Rescue as a main event during the rally's closing ceremonies on Saturday, August 14th. The American Daredevil Block Battery will take over the corner of Main Street and Harley-Davidson Way, kicking off at 11 a.m. for ticket holders. Freeman will attempt his next electrifying motorcycle jump live and advocate the importance of why motorcyclists should always carry a first aid kit. The crowd will also be thrilled by Freeman's exciting motorcycle stunts and his grand finale ramp-to-ramp jump. He will also be raffling off a custom-built motorcycle, with proceeds going to Responder Rescue. In addition, audience members will have a chance to score many of my medic first aid kits, which are very good to have with your motorcycle or your car or any sort of thing like that. We're scheduled to have Cole on the program momentarily, so let's go ahead and give him a second. While we're doing that, I did have the opportunity to talk to some Formula E guys recently. Unfortunately, the Formula E interview website is currently giving me problems, so we won't be able to have them on the show tonight. But it was a very good race. I'm very interested in the Formula E series, and with the announcement today from Joe Biden about his interest in possibly expanding electric cars, especially in the next 5 to 10 years here in the United States, I'm sure the Formula E series will be the future of racing. Now, of course, there's also the future of the hybrid cars, especially in IMSA. That's had a lot of announcements the past week. Lamborghini is currently working on an LMDH car. Peugeot, which is the division of a much larger company now, formerly the Daimler Chrysler Group. Now it has a different name. Peugeot will be racing in the United States more than likely next season in a LMH car, badged as Dodge. It might not be until the end of next season. More than likely, it will be 2023. But there should be a Dodge back in auto racing in the sports car series, but without too much further along. So that'll be cool. There's also other announcements that have come up in the past few months. This weekend is a huge weekend of racing. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But some of the big things that are taking place are the race in Nashville, which I was actually looking forward to possibly attending, although that just didn't pan out. But maybe next year. We did have the PR guy on for the Nashville race there a few shows ago. You can go ahead and look that up at speedwaydigest.podbean.com. You can find that interview. It was a great interview. It was a great guy to talk to. So be sure to check that out. But again, there'll be a lot of racing this weekend in Nashville, and hopefully you'll be tuning into it. It should be a really good event there. Trans Am is going to be there. Joe Soap sponsorship, of course, on the Tommy Dreesy car, as well as his work with the Mike Cope Racing. So that'll be cool. But there's also the IndyCar race there in Nashville. So that'll be awesome to see that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to take in a lot of that, but I'm going to try, and we'll go ahead and have a review of that next week. There's also the NASCAR racing, of course, in Watkins Glen. Now that'll be kind of cool. Not really a lot of news going on with NASCAR recently, but because they've had some time off with the break for the Olympics, there are 3 races going on there in Watkins Glen this weekend. The first on Saturday at 12:30 Eastern Time, 12:30 p.m. The second on Saturday at 4 p.m. That's the Xfinity Series race at 4 p.m. and the Cup Series on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those races are, of course, going to be slated for the Fox Sports for the Camp World Series and NBC Sports for the Cup Series and CNBC for the Xfinity Series. That'll be interesting to see how they do that. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to plan on getting those three things done, but they should be getting done rather quickly. So it should be interesting to see that go on this weekend. Again, it's been off the break there with the Olympic break. And there won't be as many people covering it. There'll be a different team covering the races, of course, because some of the people are still in Tokyo covering the Olympics. I've seen Lee Diffie was doing his racing coverage there for the track and field events, which is pretty cool to see him doing that. Again, we're standing by for Cole Freeman to call in. He should be calling in the next couple of minutes or so. Let's go ahead and stand by for that. Again, we're going to have a next week's show. We're hoping to have more coverage of the Sturgis Rally, possibly a little bit more behind-the-scenes information, possibly about how the other motorcycles are transported to Sturgis and their shortage of motorcycle transport available this season. We are getting a phone call at the moment, but it's not related to the show, so I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that for now, and we'll let that go through. Let's go ahead and stand by for Cole Freeman to call in. He should be calling in any moment now. Hopefully. It will be neat to talk to Cole Freeman. I've been working on trying to get him on the show for the past few weeks. He was originally slated, of course, for last week, as of course was Joe there from Joe's Soap. But we did have an unfortunate death in the family here last week, and it just didn't work out. Motivation just wasn't there. But let's go ahead and welcome Cole to the program now. Hello, Cole. How you doing?
Doing good. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out how to get on.
I can hear you now, so if I can hear you, I think you're on the air.
Sounds good. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Thank you for coming on tonight.
No, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
So first off, how did you get your start off in the world of motorcycle stunts?
Man, it started when I was 18 years old. A buddy of mine got a motorcycle, and I was just shocked at like some of the DVDs he was showing me and all these tricks these guys were doing. And then it kind of just went from that. And I was going down the highway one night, and this guy, his name was Kaz, was sitting on his tank, and he did this wheelie, and his legs were spread out. And he did a wheelie for like 3 miles down the highway. And I was just like, man, I really got to learn how to do that. And it started there. And then from that, I got really serious in it, learned really quick, started competing like within a couple of months of learning how to do it. And was at a competition in Branson and saw this guy, Jeff Schneider, doing it on a Harley. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my dream. That's always what I wanted to do, is do it on a Harley. So I started talking to him that night, and a couple hours went by after we were talking, and we just kind of hit it off. And he reached out to me a couple months later and offered me a spot to buy a Harley stunt bike that was set up, and then also announce a show and kind of see how the show went and see if I was interested in maybe taking over the team. So I went out and did a show with him, and man, it just clicked. I got on the bike. I did the microphone, I did the announcing, did a good job at that, and got on the bike to test ride it at the next stop we had. And it was like I was one with the bike, man. I just already had it down. So I just started doing the shows with him. And me and my dad drove to North Carolina and did a show with Jeff. And I was actually going to buy the team from Jeff and take it over. And it was the first show me and Jeff actually did together, him riding a bike and me riding a bike. And after the show was done, he come up to me and he said, man, I don't want to sell the whole team. He's like, but I will sell half. He's like, you've remotivated me to keep going. And he did it till he was 40 something years old. And in 2013, we were doing a show together. I was a firefighter medic at the time, and we were doing a show together in Indiana. and I had bumped the back of his bike while he was doing a burnout. It was like a trick we always did together, but his front tire kind of slid out, so he kind of moved forward a little bit. So I pulled the bike back as far as I could and just barely bumped into him. And man, his finger got caught between the handlebar and the concrete. And basically, when he took his glove off, most of his hand came out, and part of his finger stayed in the glove. And I was like, oh man. I felt terrible, so we got him to the hospital. We ended up getting an ambulance there, calling to get him to the hospital, and got him situated. And I ran back to the show, finished the show, and then went back to the hospital that night. And that was pretty much his last show. After that, he might have done one or two more later on down the road, but after that, it was kind of a done deal. So I ended up buying the team from him, and back in 2005, he had jumped a Harley Davidson up until about 2009. So he had these ramps, and I was like, man. In 2011, me and Jeff were doing a TV show together where he was kind of passing the torch on to me, and I was supposed to start taking over the jump program. Well, the TV show didn't really make it, so we didn't follow through with that. And my dad told me he was going to disown me if I ever bought ramps. So I was like, man, I don't want to lose that opportunity. But I also don't want to lose my family. So 6 years went by, and instead I became a firefighter medic, still did stunt shows every weekend, and juggled the firefighter schedule with the stunt show schedule, and went to Sturgis in 2015 and got hit by a motorcycle, ended up in a ditch, blew my knee out, lost my firefighter career Christmas morning, and was like, man, I was kind of bumming. And next thing you know, I'm like, kind of thought my life was over, just, kind of took the victim card, and I just decided, screw it, I'm going to go for it, man. I'm going to go get these ramps, and I'm just going to take a chance. I'm going to chase my dream. So I called Jeff up, and he said he'd sell me the ramps. So I drove to Kansas, and on my way back with the ramps, I called my dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, just want to let you know I'm making a decision, and you're not going to like it, but I'm going to go get these motorcycle ramps. And I already had them behind my truck, So he wasn't happy, let's put it that way, but I already had the damn ramps. I wasn't giving up on it. So I went behind Shady Jack's, this bar in St. Louis, and set them up on this public street, and took the speedometer off my Harley, took the front brakes off the Harley, and had a guy out there with a camera and a drone. And I was like, let's get this stuff on video, however it ends up, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just going for it, and just started jumping the ramps, spread them out as far as I could. I got them about 40 feet, and then the cops showed up. About 15 deep, paddy wagon, they were not happy. They were mad. And man, they basically told me that I had 15 minutes to get the ramps out of the street, or they were going to bulldoze them. So that was the fastest I ever had the ramps put away. Let's put it that way. They were actually pretty cool about it. Just gave me a warning. And I took the pictures and the video that I got that day, and I took off across the country and put a little proposal together, and just started going dealership to dealership, trying to sell my idea of keeping Evil's legacy alive and building my own, and it just kind of started like that, and just chasing that dream, and I've had some ups and downs and had to pick myself up quite a few times, but it's just part of life,
What's the most intense stunt you've ever performed?
I would have to say 2018, I did a jump at Mitchell, South Dakota, at the Corn Palace in Mitchell, South Dakota, for Brian Clockwork's pre-Sturgis party. I jumped a road glide 100 feet, and that was pretty intense. That was a good one. That one I jumped, I was supposed to go about 65 feet, and I ended up going about 199 foot, 11 inches. And when I say I overshot the ramps, like I almost completely landed in the street, but I ended up landing at the bottom of the ramps and breaking through them completely and somehow holding the motorcycle up. And that motorcycle with me on it's like 1,011 pounds. Yeah, so that was probably I'll give it that one. That one was the closest.
How do you get prepared to put on a show?
I do have like a little ritual that I do. I have a Purple Heart that a buddy of mine, Chavez, gave me. He lost a bunch of guys in the Iraq War, and he came back. He ended up doing 2 tours and ended up getting 2 Purple Hearts and gave me one of them to jump with. So I jump with one of them every time I jump. And then also Yellow Wolf's mom, she says a prayer with me every time. And then I, call my family, tell them I love them. And yeah, that's how it starts.
Tell us a little bit more about the American Daredevil block party that's going to be taking place on Saturday, the 14th of August.
Yeah, so we've teamed up with Responder Rescue to raise money for them and first responders that have lost their jobs or someone's gotten hurt in the line of duty or lost their lives, help their families. So we've teamed up with them to raise some money, and basically, from 11 to 4, we're going to have Sugar Fire, Smokehouse out there set up. My medic's going to be set up out there. We teamed up with them this year for the Sturgis block party as well. And I don't know if they told you about it, but basically I had last year I was out at Sturgis and we were doing the mayor's ride, and we were on our way back after the mayor's ride, and there was a head-on collision. A motorcycle ran into 2 other motorcycles head on, and 2 of them didn't make it. I mean, I got off the bike and got one of the motorcycles off one of the other guys and did what I could with what I had. But, that's the importance of this relationship that we have with my medic, is because of these first aid kits. Everybody should be carrying them on their bike, in my opinion. Because if I were to have those tools necessary, or those tools on hand, I could have done a lot more, and potentially maybe rescued a life or 2 that day. And, God rest their souls, and, God bless their families. But, it's a shame that it has to happen and that it did. But that's the importance of carrying those med kits, man. Like, I'm so glad we teamed up with them because, the quality of the product is pretty amazing. They sent me some stuff to check out, and I was actually pretty impressed. Took one of the kids with me on a 10-day road trip just recently, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, my medic was a big part of the sponsorship for the jump in Sturgis, so we'll be doing the jump at 2:00. A big shout out to them, and we're excited to be working with everybody, and hopefully it's a good turnout.
And my final question for you: if people are interested in learning more about you, maybe following your career around, where would they go?
There's Instagram, it's Cole Freeman. Facebook, Cole Freeman. Same with YouTube. You can find some videos on YouTube at Cole Freeman. And yeah, that's that. And check out the Block Party website, AmericanDaredevilBlockParty.com, or you can go to illconduct.com. But yeah, that's tickets for the Sturgis jump are on sale at AmericanDaredevilBlockParty.com.
Thank you very much for having me on the show, and I wish you lots of luck there in Sturgis and for the rest of the season as well.
Well, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
You have a great night.
All right, thanks.
Once again, that was Cole Freeman, who's going to be jumping there in Sturgis in another week or so. Very cool. And as he stated, you can go to the American Daredevil Block Party and get tickets for that jump, and taking place on Saturday, August 14th. Be sure to check out past episodes of Thursday Night Thunder, as well as the other shows on the Speedway Digest Radio Network at speedwaydigest.podbean.com. You can also check out the show on Facebook by searching for Speedway Digest Thursday Night Thunder in the search bar. I also invite you to read the articles covering all aspects of motorsports at speedwaydigest.com. I've had some time lately, especially the past couple of weeks or so, to keep up with the inbox, and I've been covering a lot of great and awesome stories there for SpeedwayDigest.com in the racing news section. There's been a lot of great stuff going on in modern motorsports. Be sure to check that out. In addition, if you're a fan of South Florida and who isn't, be sure to check out the latest news and information about our slice of paradise at my fairly new blog site, Four Plums Fantastic Finds. It can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and by heading to fourplumsfantasticfinds.wordpress.com. The easiest way to follow that on Twitter is by going to @PBHappening, which is my old Twitter handle for a previous site, but it's the easiest way to follow it. That's where all the stuff is reposted. Easiest way to follow it right there. In addition, Speedway Digest News, we're going to have some more articles coming up in the ever popular Revved Up with Waldorf series. We've got like 2 more authors to cover there. And then we've got 3 motorsports icons, including Bobby Allison, who will be featured in coming articles probably next week, maybe a little bit later. But I will let you know. It'll be posted on SpeedwayDigest.com probably within the next week. But I'm not entirely sure. I'm still in negotiations with the publisher for that information. We have the articles in hand and getting ready to publish right now. Once again, I'd like to thank you for listening and look forward to seeing you again next week for another edition of the Thunderdome as we discuss the major issues in the world of modern auto racing. Have a great night, and thanks again to our guests, Joe and Cole.